Hey, DJ.
What's going on, Wes?
Hey, man, did you know that all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbon?
Really?
Yeah.
It's all pretty delicious to me, though.
Oh, it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I agree.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Love Wylie Podcast, hosted by Wes Dorsey and DJ Shirley. Connecting people in the city we live and love. So, DJ, man, I'm super excited about this episode.
I don't even know what this episode's about, to be honest with you. No, I'm just kidding. I know what it's about.
I mean,
I know a couple of things.
There's some tasty treats laying around here.
There are. First, though, as I always have to do so we don't get the emails, is we want to thank the Love Wylie band for being here today and for providing our intro song as usual. We just want to say
they're great.
Thank you. We don't have the clapping thing. We don't have that. We'll generate that ourselves, okay? Yeah, we've got some pretty cool guests, Wes. Let's introduce them. We have Clint Ecord, and I hope did I say Ecord? Ecord. See, there we go.
Record without the R.
I got you. Perfect. There you go. And then Ryan, can we just call you Hammer, or is it Hamar? Is it Hammer? What do you go by when you're releasing your newest album?
It depends on the day.
Okay.
And really what genre I'm going for.
Oh, sure.
But for Hammer.
What's on the Spotify playlist that morning?
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
That works. Well, these guys, as most of you know, I like to joke and I call people when I refer to them, and I've either been texting them or I've been by. I'm like, I was talking to the Whiskey Boys, and that's that everybody laughs and like, oh, okay. These guys are the guys that are bringing an incredible thing to Wylie that I'm super excited about. But these are the Herman Marshall guys. Herman Marshall Whiskey coming to Wylie. And I'm stoked. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about, but this is them guys. Thank y'all for being here, and we're excited to kind of dive through. And I'm a little overwhelmed by all the treats on the table.
Do we want to look at them? Do we want to talk about it?
I think we should.
First and foremost, Wes, DJ, thanks for having Ryan.
Absolutely.
I mean, we really appreciate it. I mean, just the opportunity to come out, spend the afternoon with you guys talking whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to talk to each other all day about whiskey, but it's nice to talk to other people about it. Yeah.
Like, do we know any other people? Can we talk to anyone else?
I want to open the doors just to make new friends. That's
That's the whole purpose behind it, right?
That's it.
Okay.
That's all.
Sense. That makes sense to me.
Super selfish.
So, yeah, what do we... Clint, I think we can let people into the behind the scenes. You made these pours.
What'd
you pour us here?
I did a little heavy pour for us.
This looks light.
I didn't know the timeline on the podcast, so no.
6.5 minutes based on these pours.
What I poured out for us is just some Dry County. It's our blended bourbon. It's a blend of 2 to 3 year bourbon. Our mash bill specifically selected for us. It's what I would consider more of an entry level bourbon. The price point's great. MSRP is $29.99 at your local package store. So you can mix it if you're not a big neat or rocks guy. Yeah. But you can also enjoy it. I prefer mine neat. That's why I poured them all neat for us. So
yeah, no, I love that. I prefer the Ryan.
Oh yeah,
I prefer the Ryan. You want to tell people what the Ryan is?
So I unfortunately the other day I actually shared my secret with DJ, and it was Sprite Zero with a little Dry County. Like the Sprite. And
yes.
We all got to watch our figures.
Oh, for sure.
So if it's calorie free with Sprite Zero, that means it's healthy.
Yeah, it's basically a health smoothie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mixed mine with Dr. Pepper Zero, so it's healthy too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mixed mine with nothing, so it's super healthy.
It's super healthy. There's no added ingredients whatsoever.
There you go. If he had mixed it, he would have grown. So well, that's how it works. It happens.
It happens. But no, I did, and it was when I tried that, I was like, oh, that was really good. And then I immediately, the store that weekend, I was like, babe, I got to go down the soda aisle. And we really don't buy sodas. Like, that's a big thing we tried to kick out, is any type of sodas. But when I'm mixing a drink or something, I do like to mix a drink. Mm-hmm. I don't mind shooting something or sipping on something. But when you did that, I was like, and I wouldn't have thought of that. And now I'm curious. Like, I want to throw some like Mountain Dew in there. Like, I want to try some different stuff now.
Yeah.
Okay. Some C4.
That'd be pretty good.
Fair
enough. A little C4.
Oh,
yeah. The C4, yeah. Yes, because Starburst and bourbon go together well.
Sponsored. We're still looking for sponsors, by the way. Just want to throw this out here. Yeah, we may have to try that in a minute.
And then he liked it so much he shot the little promo video for his reels.
Apparently, I didn't pour correctly, though. Apparently.
Clint comes on that pour is pretty light. That's why we got the heavy pours.
That's exactly
the heavy pours today.
Off your post, I had to show you,
what a Clint pour is.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. It's funny. Yeah, but it was really, really good. And did you take the first one? Okay, let me get the second one. Call the second one.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, we had lunch, right? So
we did. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We have not. So, it'll get real interesting. It's so good. And so that's actually, I mean, between that and the rye, those two are my favorite. And I don't know if is there a reason for that? Let's ask the whiskey expert. Is there a reason why I would like, not that I don't like the others, but if I had to pick, I've tried all of them.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, it was between Dry County and the rye. Are there any similarities between the two?
Absolutely. So this one actually has 21% rye.
Okay.
So it's going to have rye in here. So it's 75, 21, 4. So 75% corn, because it has to be over 51% to be bourbon. And then 21% rye. And then you have 4% barley.
Okay.
Whereas this one is going to be 100%. Actually, no, it's 77% rye, 23% barley.
Hold that one up to the camera here. That's
We're
the
live right on this one.
That's our bourbon.
okay.
The rye.
that's
So we have the
rye.
rye. The rye is the 77% rye, 23% barley. And then this one, because we're simple people, 77% corn, 23% barley.
Okay.
So same mash bill percentages, just one's with corn, one's with rye.
Got it.
Gotcha.
So they're going to be similar in the flavor profile. This one's going to be a 2 and 3 year mix that we blended. So it's one of those, like Clint was saying, you don't feel bad whenever you mix it.
Yeah.
Because you're not spending a whole lot of money on it, but it's great, neat.
Right.
But you can kind of do a few things. It's definitely that jack of all trades, that kind of like utility player, if you will.
Yeah.
You can mix Mountain Dew with it.
You can
whatever. Mix your Mountain Dew,
whatever.
DJ.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're gonna have C4 on
I'm
the
just
menu
looking for
this weekend.
Hey,
And
don't knock it
call
until you've
the
tried
DJ.
it. We may have to break this out in a minute.
I just found out about C4.
We
10
could
minutes
literally
ago.
call it C4, like a Claymore type thing. Like you call it C4. Like they,
You like, give me the C4.
yeah.
That'd be sweet. Let's do it.
Hey,
It has been decided.
Let's try
check the menu on
Let's try
Friday.
it first.
All right.
Let's see what
we
it
might
tastes like.
actually want to see if it tastes decent. Nah.
So we pour it in and start smoking. We're like, I don't know if that's
No, probably not
supposed to happen. Well, yeah, guys, no, we appreciate y'all being here. Obviously, we're already having a whole lot of fun. Wes, I'll let you kind of carry us into next.
Yeah, so we know you guys do whiskey, but let's hear a little bit about your backgrounds. What were you doing before the Whiskey Boys, right?
Well, I'll tee that off. So, my background, sales, basically information technology. I got my career started law enforcement / military, which transitioned into the IT world. And I did that about 15 years. And, an opportunity came along. I was already a fan of Herman Marshall. I had it on my bar back at my home. And, I got a phone call out of the blue during COVID. And there's 3 of us primary partners, one of them silent, and it was just the 2 of us before. And I told him, I said, look, I've been in the sales game. I know how to run a business. I can market things, but I'm not a numbers guy. We need somebody that I can trust with numbers. He's like, well, I know a guy. His name's, Ryan. And I said, well, all right. So I met him, and I hated him the first time I met him. True story. We did not like each other. No, we hit it off right away.
Something about his face, right?
Well,
It's punchable. That's what he kept saying.
I'm like, this guy's face is definitely punchable. So. No, we hit it off right away. And, Ryan and I just, kind of hit the ground running with it. And, Ryan's background, I've been involved in several other businesses over the years as well, including the IT business. But Ryan was more diverse, especially on the finance and total business operation standpoint. And that's something that I knew my weakness was, and it just went hand in hand. I have my strengths and weaknesses. He has his, and our wives remind us of all of our weaknesses.
Of course. That's just, They keep us on our toes. No, I think that's good, though, when you're looking at a business partnership, which, it's important, I think, that you find your missing links in your partner. And I think that makes the most sense, or your partnerships. I think it makes a whole lot of sense to do that. Ryan, what about you? I'm going to give you an opportunity here to go back to the, college of choice and go and do whatever motions you're going to do with your hands. This is your moment.
One day, it was amazing. I went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, go Pokes, and then I graduated. So, it was that easy. Just real quick.
It was like overnight success, right?
Just
all the way through a master's degree in 2 days.
all happened.
Oh,
Just
it's
real
super
quick.
simple.
Yeah, just
Undergrad
real
and
quick.
master, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm from around here. I actually grew up over in Plano, so I've always known this area, which is amazing. Getting to come over here and bring it back. Went to Oklahoma State, left, really did the whole consulting thing all the way through. Like, so I went to the small consulting, I went to the big consulting, and then basically acting as an outsourced CFO. So being the CFO for small practices, small businesses, things like that. And then I finally was like, you know what? I'm tired of doing the consulting thing. I want to go do kind of my own thing. So I went out and did a few things like he was saying. I got involved in way too many businesses and different businesses and helping other people start up their businesses and things like that. So I learned a lot of mostly of what not to do,
right?
You know, because you kept screwing up going like, dang it, that sounded so smart. And then you do it and you're like, no, bad idea.
Check it off the list.
Yeah, you're just like, nope, cross it. Okay, we're good. And then same thing. I got a call one day from our buddy, and he was like, hey, you want to buy a distillery? And my response was way different than his. I just said, yes, let's do it. Which one? I had no idea which one it was, but I was like, that sounds like so much fun and something that we can go and do and bring in the marketing piece and the finance and all that. And plus with TX just selling back in 2019 and you know, a lot of those come around, it was like the finance brain kind of goes, hey, that's a great, you know, deal that 5-10 years down the road.
Sure.
But also the fun aspect and being part of the community, that was the other piece.
Right.
And so we jumped all in.
Yeah, I mean, and all this took place in the middle of COVID. So, you know, we were...
You were looking for something. Like, you need something to be excited about.
Well, frankly, our wives were like, you need to find something to do because we're tired of you being
We're going to be on one of those shows, okay?
Yeah.
Like where they're looking for a body. So I'm going to need you to go find something to do.
I don't want to be at the bottom of Levon. I really don't.
It's a topic for another day, sir. No, I think that's cool. And so that's essentially, that was the next thing I wanted to ask you guys. That's how y'all met. Y'all met through this mutual friend?
Yep.
Is that, okay. And that mutual friend who brought the kind of opportunity in front of you guys.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. That's awesome. That's really cool. And so before that, you guys y'all didn't know each other from Adam.
Nope, never met the guy.
But we got along great in the sense that, I mean, it became like a fraternity. You know, we were all in there just making fun of each other, bringing in people that we know we can hang out with, but also build a business.
I think it's important. And I've heard a lot of, you know, I'm a fan of podcasts in general. Obviously, we're doing this one, but I think you hear any successful business, especially what I consider a massive business or a movement, if you will, like that's a piece of it is like my partners in this business, not only are the missing links that I don't have, but they are complementary. And I also can just have fun doing life and business with them. And that makes it's not work. You know, there's a level of it. We all have those moments. I tell people that all the time with what I do. It's most days I work or not work at all. There's some, don't get me wrong. There's some days where just the stuff's got to get done and it's a stressful, busy, crazy day and you get the phone calls and you're like, you know, and it's work. But 99% of the time, it's like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. You know, and DJ, it's a true family affair. I mean, I remember when we got our first PO and not kidding, your parents were there, your wife, your kids, my kids. I mean, my son who's down at Sam Houston State, he was helping me do some remodel stuff on the old facility just to, you know, get RCO over there. My 10-year-old daughter was building boxes. I mean, awesome. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get paid for this. You're 10 years old. We need 1,500 boxes made by, you know, in 8 hours. So get to work. Yeah. And it truly, but we had a blast. You know, we brought in some pizza, had our friends there, and that's really how we got it all started.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's really, you see each other more than you see your family in some cases.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Up, you know, and you're like, I want to get along with these people and know that they're good people and bringing in people into our circle that we trust.
When you've got to be, you're going to be family one way or the other, especially something like this. So
forced.
Oh, I mean, I know my wife texts his wife, you know, hey, did your husband tell you? No, because we don't communicate with our wives, Earl. So now it's just
they probably text more between themselves than you text with your own wife, right?
Absolutely, probably.
And they get way more information, and they're happier. I mean, it's amazing. They're talking, and we're like, hey,
I'm so glad we worked this out.
Yeah.
Business or not, they just need to be friends. Yeah. No, and it is cool. Like, I mean, when I stopped by last week, you know, your wife was there, and it's just like same concept, exactly what you just said. There was T-shirts and hoodies and things that needed to be folded and organized, and she was just in there hammering it out. You know, like she was, no pun intended with the last name, but you're welcome. But it was just, that's the way it goes. Is that you have that just, it's got to be done, and I'm here and I want to help, and I'm just going to dive in and do it. So super cool, very very cool.
So real quick, was there any talk prior to this just popping up about having a distillery or going into whiskey business?
Did you ever think that was going to be a thing?
I just really enjoyed drinking bourbon. I mean,
you know, honestly, for me, I mean, when my first question, you know, what's the distillery? Which one? You know, what brand? And when he said Herman Marshall, you know, like I said before, I was already a fan. And then when I found out the backstory about, you know, it was the first, I already knew it was the first, whiskey in Dallas County, but they were at a crossroads where they were trying to decide, all right, do we just close the doors, in the middle of COVID, business wasn't doing well. And I just couldn't let something like that die.
Right.
And, yes, it was Dallas County. We're in Collin County now, which we are the first distillery in Collin County. So just
two
throwing it out
first.
there. Yeah. So, but no,
we need the clapping thing.
That was, you do need a clap.
I'm gonna add the button.
But that's what really drew me into it was mainly the history. I mean, what Herman and Marshall Lewis did. Herman Beckley and Marshall Lewis, what they did and how their story got started. It's very similar to how ours. They were two strangers that met in a coffee shop, and they just had a passion for whiskey, and kind of the same thing. And it just morphed. 2 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long road.
I'm sure.
I mean, you saw my post, thanking the wives and the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, we've all had the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, Ryan and I have both been, in the super sack, shoveling, corn. And we've done everything. I mean, fixed pipe. I mean, it's truly, it's a very humbling experience.
I love that. I like that a lot. I mean, and you've walked us through it like briefly, because that's a piece that just is a cool conversation piece of that. It wasn't you guys starting a whiskey company, right? Like, which would have been a whole nother discussion. But this was a literal acquisition. And I know that y'all kept was it Herman that y'all kept that stayed on with y'all for some time? Walk me through that, or walk our listeners through that. Like, what did that look like? Like when you sit down and Herman's sitting across from you and y'all are either negotiating the acquisition or talking through that. Like, what did that look like? I can only imagine, like, if I'm sitting down and I'm buying a whiskey company, like, what does that even look like?
I'll let Ryan handle that because I have nightmares about that whole negotiation process.
And everything, so it's got to be a great story.
It was, it was really interesting because, whenever you're selling a company or trying to buy a company, you always go through kind of that gatekeeper, right?
Sure.
And so it ended up being Marshall's son. He was the one that was kind of running the day-to-day, getting that. I mean, it was just kind of, coasting, I guess is the best way to say it. And so we talked to him and kind of really told him how much we were interested. Yeah. But also we wanted to see what was going on. We wanted to see the distillery, see in the back, and really talk about, hey, what's not good? Right. What's, what are you having troubles with that we either will encounter or we can help with, something like that. So we got past all of, past him, and then we finally started talking to Herman. Mm-hmm. And so we got through with Herman, and we kind of got to a fairly mutual, agreeable kind of, I guess, contract, not really contract, but,
proposal,
ROI, or LOI. And then we got Marshall involved. And so then we, it's always that take two steps forward, one step back. And so, he was catching up, trying to figure everything out. And, he's also been on the sideline for so long that he was coming back into it. And, it's also hard because this is their baby.
Oh, no doubt.
And they wanted to make sure that we were taking care of their baby.
Oh, yeah.
So that was.
So before we get too far, did they just put out feelers like we're thinking about selling this brand or distillery?
No,
or how did the word on the street, how did it get to you to even investigate?
We all three primary partners have fingers in different circles, and one of the our silent partner, his fingers are in a certain vertical, and just through word of mouth he overheard a conversation, and then we just kind of pursued it ourselves.
Oh, so he kind of heard.
So literally, wasn't even like something that was
no, it wasn't like, hey, this is for sale.
That's cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why it took almost 9 months to complete the whole acquisition.
It was a lot of help. I mean, we helped them kind of prepare a lot of things too.
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
Going back and going like, hey, here's what you have, or here, like putting those lists together.
Yeah.
So
because Herman or Marshall were like, they weren't even expecting to sell, maybe, or Ed kind of like briefly said it, or wasn't even prepared to.
Yeah. I mean, it was up in the air. I mean, Herman, had kind of reached burnout stage, and his wife had got a great opportunity, and he had the opportunity to go and move to Laguna.
Oh, nice.
And live on the beach.
Yeah.
So
take that offer.
Can't really blame him for.
He's living an awful life right now.
I called him one time after the alarm went off, but it was Sunday. you know, because I set the alarm off and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing it wrong. So I called him and, you know, you can hear like the birds and the waves and everything. He's like, well, I'm at brunch, but, you know, here, type this code in. And I'm like, awesome. Well, enjoy, you know, kidless sitting on the beach.
we're sweating.
Awesome.
Sweating to death back, you know, with the boiler running. You know,
Right.
so, yeah.
No big deal. And the police are on their way because I set the alarm off. If you could,
Exactly.
please put your cocktail down and let me know how to turn this alarm off. It'd be great. The beach isn't going anywhere.
He always hates coming back here because he's like, I have to wear shoes.
Yeah.
So flip-flops and stuff. Like, I mean,
He shows up flip flops and, you know, swim trunks.
That's
We're like, hey,
you
we
know-
have like a formal event that we're going to. He's like, no, I'm good.
Have y'all met the, or have y'all heard of, we have the Redhead Barrels here in town? Have y'all heard? Okay, so he, you know, and I've gotten to meet him a few times, but, you know, he lives technically, you know, abroad.
Yeah.
And he has that's his other business. You know, they have this cabin that they rent out, 2 tickets to paradise. And it's hilarious. Like when he comes back, I love just talking to him because when he comes back, he's a great business guy, but just hearing him talk and like the conversations, he's like, yeah, man, it's been real rough. You know, I was having to swim in the pool every day because we're doing some plaster work. And like, he just lives this life on the side of a mountain overlooking the ocean. I'm like, oh, just stop talking, man. Like he's like, yeah, and I had to come back and get some actual work done. I'm like, okay, all right. You know, it's just, you know, the guys that have, we look forward to those trips maybe once a year if we're lucky.
Totally.
And these guys are just living it.
Right.
They're just living
Have
it.
you been on vacation in the last 2 years? Because I sure haven't. I mean,
Well, y'all are living a vacation every day.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Is
Yeah.
crying in the corner a vacation? Because, I mean, every night, honestly. No.
Lots of couch naps.
We'll there's remedies for crying. I mean, you guys have one of them in front of you, and it's
absolutely.
whatever your poison is. So yeah, I mean, there's I think that's a cool piece of just knowing that, like, again, that's a piece I didn't even know, and I've talked to you guys a few times, and that's a piece I didn't know that they weren't even necessarily looking to sell, or I mean, it maybe was a little side conversation between family members that like, yeah, maybe we should, but then the fact that a conversation was overheard, and then that led to what is happening now, which is just cool.
Yeah. All right. So we can go. I interrupted. So we go back to now Marshall's involved, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that getting different parties that are not in the same state, not in the, you know, really none of them have even talked like really for like a year or whatever. Yeah. And so we had 3 different people sitting at this, table there. And I don't know why I just went, but whatever. So
It's a blue table.
I know, it's proverbial. I was trying to say that and I just stopped. I was like, I don't know, that's a hard word. Words. And then so
Blame Clint, heavy pour.
I know, right?
Go ahead.
So we had all 3 of them. We had all 3 of us.
Yeah.
They were bringing in, you know, different of their buddy lawyers and all that stuff. And so just trying to get all on the same page.
Sure.
And get everybody on a Zoom call. I mean, because at that time it was just trying to get on Zoom. It wasn't trying to get the same.
Yeah, you're not getting together.
Yeah, because it was into 2020, 2021 beginning, you know, and so we were going through all of that, and it took a lot of effort, like one-off conversations over here, one-off over here. Then we'd be like, hey, go talk to him, go do these things. And so it was, you know, really kind of working that whole relationship all the way around and building a relationship that I hadn't even met the guy in person.
Right.
So I mean, so it's just all of those variables trying to get it all put together in the right way to get the outcome that we wanted. And it actually ended up pretty close to what we were trying to do.
That's awesome.
And accomplish. So
And it was win-win for everybody. I mean, they were done.
Yeah.
And you know, they got you know, their slice of the pie.
Yeah.
And they were happy, and it's their legacy. You know, like we
Oh,
said
no
before.
doubt.
I mean, we didn't change the recipes. Well, the rye has one little thing, a little secret.
we tweaked a few things, but
Tweaked
it
a few
wasn't.
things. But you know, we kept the name. We didn't want to.
It's Chick-fil-A sauce, isn't it?
It is Chick-fil-A sauce. No, it's your Starburst
C4.
C4.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the barrel, age it 3 years.
I love that.
I found out what C4 was today, so I don't know if they've been around for 3 years. So.
Also, still looking for sponsors.
We've talked a lot about C4.
We've talked a whole lot about. We're going to tag him in this post,
right?
No, but that's cool. So, what did Herman's role when he was with you for some time? And I don't know if that still goes on. I don't think it's super relevant, but I mean, knowing that Herman was a part of that transition period, and was it more for, what do you guys feel was it more for like, I'm gonna make sure they don't screw this up, or was it like, no, I want to give them a good, I'm assuming it's a little bit of both, but it was like, I want to make sure that they hit the ground running and I want to see this thing continue.
Yes.
Is that more or less what it was?
I would say for sure both.
Yeah, he was super excited. I mean, he had, kind of, like I said, got burnt out, and it brought life back into it. I mean, he has a passion. I mean, he created
He's
this.
a master.
He is a master distiller, and this is, I mean, and he
this
got
stuff's
excited.
like they're local legends, right? I mean,
they are. Yeah. I mean, they really are. I mean, people all over the state of Texas, all over the United States know them, and especially Herman, because he was kind of the face of the company.
Sure.
And, you know, you ask about how involved he was. I mean, we spent a year before we even went to go redistribute the product out in the marketplace. Right. We spent a year going through what we called Herman's boot camp. I mean, he spent a year. Brian knows how to do everything. I know how to do everything. We brought in our master distiller from Missouri. We brought in another second master distiller, and our whole staff. I mean, from Ryan clear down to, you know, our sales guys, they know the process.
Sure.
I mean, that's one of the, I mean, my kids know the process because they've just seen it so much. And we wanted to make sure that we did things right.
Science fair project.
Exactly. Yeah.
My son's in 3rd grade, and he can pretty much tell you exactly how to do everything. He's
so
like,
cool.
let's talk about whiskey. We're like, I don't know if this is the right
He's like, from my presentation today, what my dad does for a living. And I brought a sample. Here, it's in my backpack.
All the kids can sample.
This is how Uncle Clint pours.
No, and good. I mean, you say that, but that's kind of one of the funny things. I mean, like his son and his daughter, I mean, they've become, you know, just like nieces and nephews.
Sure.
Too. I mean, it's amazing.
I love that.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is. I real quick to tell a funny story about Herman and taking care of his baby and making sure we don't screw up. This is probably more of the example of us not screwing up. So what he did was we had to have him on FaceTime the entire time we opened up our first barrel. So he was like, don't do that.
No.
Do it this way. Make sure it's not going to rock. Do it. You know, and so like he was eagle eye on us. We were like, man, we should get, you know, those little robots that have like the iPad on it.
Yes.
We were like
the doctor's office.
So he just
drive around.
driving it around the distillery.
What are you guys doing? Are you doing it the right way? Are you doing it the wrong way?
Don't rock the
It's
barrel.
just a Herman face on an iPad. Like,
yeah. And I think he would want to do it too.
He'd probably be so interested.
The invigoration, the like zest for being a distiller again, really came back.
Yeah.
You know? So he still comes back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been back in a few months because we haven't really been doing anything except for moving and lifting heavy stuff and blowing out our shoulders and all.
He's like, I'll be at the beach.
Yeah. So
call me when you need me.
Oh yeah. So once we get the new stuff up and going, he's going to be back here.
That'd be awesome.
And he is a fun time.
Oh, he's a riot.
That's a great segue, DJ.
You know, well, let's talk about that then. You guys said, you know, when things are done, okay?
Yeah.
So we know there's a couple of things happening, and that we know it's no big secret, and we're, you know, we love to talk about all things Wylie and things that are happening, things that are coming, businesses, interesting things, the people behind it, which we've gotten to know you guys a little bit here. But I want to talk about what is most prevailing, the most pressing, however you want to put that, and then I want to save the second thing for maybe a closer time, because I know you guys are hard at work over there as well, and a lot of people know exactly what we're talking about, but we want to really dive into the, you know, the nitty gritty and things like that when we get closer. But you have something that today is, we're recording this on a Wednesday. We're going to be pushing this out very quickly, but something's happening on Friday that you guys have been hard at work at, and blood, sweat, tears, the whole 9 yards. Walk us through that. What is opening on Friday? And really what I want to know is, I'd like to know that connection piece is like, why that? When you're already working on the other that we'll dive into another day, where did this thought process come from for what you're about to tell us about? I'd like to walk all the way through that, because I think it's a cool story.
Yeah. Okay. What thought process? No, I'm just kidding.
What are you talking about? What are you
thought?
we just said
Did
yes.
we have a thought?
Yeah. So, you know, it's like always in construction when you're doing anything, it's always going to take a little to a lot longer than what you think it's going to be.
Especially post-COVID.
In getting different parts, getting the still, our still should be coming in April. So it's like, okay, so how are we going to be able to open up and bring people into our distillery or something without having our distillery open?
Right.
You know, and it was something that we had been thinking about and doing. We knew we had to move because, you know, there was some, like down in Garland, we knew we were moving up here. We had owned the building. I think we're over a year now from what we've owned that property over there.
Yeah.
So we were finally moving in, and, you know, we were like, man, what are we going to do? We were even thinking about buying like a mobile tasting room and putting a trailer out in the parking lot and being like, okay, we got to figure out how to do this, you know, because a lot of different whiskeys, they have their own mobile bar that goes rolling around. And we're like, you know what? I wonder how we get that done.
Right.
Because we were trying to think of everything, you know, being creative, which my lawyer always says no.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Yeah, that's why we don't run past
I love your
our legal
creativity.
team, because the stuff that we come up with, they're like, no.
Yeah, it's
Stop talking.
Yeah,
I go, hey, what about? And she goes, no. I'm
sit in the corner.
I didn't
Time out.
say anything. I don't understand. And then we actually got a call from Wylie from the EDC, and they were like, hey, there's a building that just came open downtown.
Yeah.
Would you want that? And I was like, yes. Like, I want to run over there like now and see it.
Yeah.
Can we move in tomorrow?
It solved a problem that we were trying to solve that we didn't know that we had an option down there.
Sure.
'Cause, I mean, you think about downtown.
I think maybe your lawyer says no because you always say yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing.
Very
So,
accurate.
I was in East Texas, out in the Longview area, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm at this facility downtown. Like, you want to sign a lease?" And I'm like, "Dude, I haven't even seen what you're doing."
And I was like, just kidding. I did.
No, he did. And he's like, "Well, we got to do it today."
We
And I'm
already.
like,
I'm just kidding. We already signed the lease.
well,
Just
no,
kidding.
he really had. And he's like, "Are you game?" And I'm like, I trust you. We had developed
Sure,
the trust.
you're right,
I'm like,
you're right.
let's go for it. And he's like, good, because I've already signed it. I'm like, no, I already knew that. I knew that you'd already signed it.
I knew the phone call wasn't coming as a question.
No, it was already a done deal. Like you normally, because I've done the same thing to him. So.
You try to shape it in a way where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
great idea. That's a fantastic. He's like, wait, they already took the sign down, didn't they? I was
Yeah.
like, all right, here's a picture of her taking the sign down. Yeah.
He was like, we've already moved stuff in, actually. I signed it last week. Just didn't know how to tell you.
At this point, he's like, do you even want to look at the contract? I'm like, well, it's a little late to that, so let's just roll with it. So.
Yeah. So like this
That's
time,
the trust. That's the trust that we
Oh,
have.
totally.
Yeah.
And, but in this time, get this, I asked the lawyer and she goes, that's a great idea. And I was like, holy crap. Like, why?
Did you, like, pass out?
Can you like give me more? No. How smart am I? And she was like, because it's like within a certain amount of distance, like it's like a mile or something like that.
Mile,
We're
yeah,
0.7 away from where our DSP, which is our federal license,
Okay.
is. So we don't have to have a new license for
Right.
this.
Oh,
And so
that's cool.
he and I cannot own a mixed beverage, or I guess with a restaurant or a bar
Nope.
or a distributor. We can't own any other licenses.
Package
except
store,
for-
nothing like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if we said, hey, we want to go open up a bar, it'd be like, sorry, no.
Yep.
Because it has to be a
You're just
distilling
locked
license.
into that one license.
And I mean,
Yeah.
that's all the, combination of TABC and then the ATF,
Yeah.
rules and regulations.
Sure.
And, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, the background, everything that we had to go through just to get a license. I mean,
Get all those arrests expunged.
I know exactly.
Man,
that border
tough.
incident, all that stuff.
Another reason your lawyer says no.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, we truly learned.
I mean, Oklahoma, right? I mean,
well, that's true.
What else did we have to do except get arrested, right? No.
But we
Pokes.
learned why, we learned why, so many people, pursue it, but they never get it off the ground.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is the legal loopholes and just the amount of money that it takes. I mean, we have a lawyer that all she does, our legal team, all they do is navigate TABC and ATF law. I mean, that's it. That's their
Crazy.
whole practice. And I mean, there's a half dozen lawyers at that firm.
That's crazy.
And they represent, most of the companies
Sure.
right here in Texas. So everybody uses them. Great firm. They just don't like Ryan and I because we have crazy ideas.
We're the new kids on the block. We're trying to come up with ideas,
Push the envelope, right?
Right. You
So-
can't get a yes if you don't ask.
Well, no, that's the thing is like, that's usually, I'm always one that I err on the side. Like I love the ask for forgiveness, not permission kind of thing. But then sometimes you do that. And then someone like your attorney, is like, yeah, that's not how this works at all. Like none of you hired me for the exact opposite reason.
We've had a couple of those.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah, that's usually,
Hear me out.
I feel like your attorney has like request coupons, and like she doesn't tell you that she has them, but she has a number that she's like, as soon as you call or text or email, she's like a ticker. She's like, there's one. There's one. And then by the time you get to 4, it's like, I don't accept your calls anymore. Like it just doesn't work that way. You have a request limit.
I mean, she gets paid for every time she
Right.
answers. So,
Exactly.
I mean,
So she has no problem responding to email and phone.
She's like,
so.
yes, let's chat. I charge by the
Absolutely.
second. Let's get on the phone. I would really like a phone call. No, so tasting room, right? Downtown Wylie, opening on Friday. We know that. And it's kind of an all day thing. I think it opens at 3.
At 3, yep.
Okay. Is it people come and go? Is there really any certain things kicking off at certain times, or no? Just it's going to be literally everything's happening from 3 until 11.
I would say like the big piece is going to be going on like right around 7.
Yeah.
We're kind of
Okay.
like we're going to have giveaways,
Lots of raffles.
merchandise. We're going to have things that we're allowed to give away.
Things you're allowed to give away. There you go.
And so we're gonna have that. We're gonna have some really cool stuff going on upstairs. You know, like with some people that are up there, some just different vendors and everything. I know we're gonna get into that a little bit, but you know, so we're gonna be doing all of that. We're gonna have drink specials. We're gonna have just really
C4.
Maybe. Well, that's it.
We have to now.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pink cocktail with an umbrella in your pinky up.
Oh, okay. Now we went there.
Oh,
and
no.
I mean, one of the things that we're doing, I mean, we've had so much positive feedback from the community, our friends. I mean, just everyone. I mean, different whiskey societies, and so we're going to have a scaled down opening menu as far as drink offerings, just because the capacity, the amount of people that have already committed. Oh, we're we're like, oh wow, this is gonna. So we had to scale it down to some limited items, but long term, I mean, once kind of the new wears off, we'll have full whiskey flight offerings, an expanded beverage offering. So
yeah, and really to kind of speak to that too, we're going to have whiskey and bourbon are going to be the cocktails this time.
Yep.
Yeah. I was about to ask you that, just for people who are thinking about coming out, what can they expect?
Yeah, so we're going to have whiskey and bourbon cocktails. There's some really cool mixes that we're doing over there that, if you don't like, hey, I don't like the real burn, the harshness, we're going to have some other cool, really tasty cocktails that will, satisfy any palate, the fruity, all the different types. But in about 30 days, I would say, we're going to have our vodka, gin.
Very cool.
Because anything that we serve, we have to actually make.
We have to make it.
Right.
So that's a big, another rule that we have to make sure we follow. So that's going to be another offering that we're just going to have a full flight of everything, in terms of.
And that's a cool thing
spirits.
too. Like, and just for briefly, I mean, is gin and vodka, is that something that Herman Marshall as a brand has always historically done, or is that something y'all are getting into, or just to like expand the kind of footprint? 'Cause that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm going to say it comes down to our wives.
There you go. No, I'm asking that intentionally because my wife asked me about Friday. She's coming.
Yeah.
She'll be there with me, and she goes, will it be all whiskey? She's not a big. She likes like cinnamon whiskey or something like that. She likes some of the flavored stuff.
The fake.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow. Shots fired. Shoom, shoom. But I told her, I was like, they'll have something that you will like. The last menu I saw, but that's, I mean,
for example, my wife, she's not a whiskey or bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
She's a vodka girl.
Yep.
And I mean, that's what she prefers. That is one of the reasons why we're developing it. But also,
Was that in the suggestion box like every week?
It was like every day. She's like, when are you going to have your vodka? When are you going to have your vodka?
Wait, a suggestion box or demand box?
A demand box. Yeah, there aren't suggestions from the wives.
I forgot what we were talking about.
No, for example, like that's like the blackberry smash. That's one of the things that we developed. And we did, our wives tasted it over and over and over and over. My mom, who hates whiskey.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I can totally drink this.
Yeah.
And so we developed some stuff that would be geared towards in the short run until, we have the bottling process completed on our vodka and gin and all that.
Cool. And you're thinking 30 days ish? We should
probably
see something like that.
Because I mean, we just got our license, right?
You're right.
So,
you gotta.
And so like you got to do all the colas, which is like your label approvals.
Okay.
So you have to get all of that for your vodkas. So like I mean, there's a lot of
you go through all that first.
I mean, federal
because I'm assuming
level,
coming up with the vodka is probably not the most complicated part. It's probably
we already
everything
have
else.
it.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's
we already
everything
have it.
else. Like yes, I can only.
It's just there's an order of operations that the TABC and the ATF, you have to check every box in order.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's...
But that's primarily why we brought in the second distiller, who is really, really smart in the blends and the other, different types of spirits.
Sure.
And he's very passionate, and he loves making the gins, and I've never been a gin fan. And he has shown us some of the things that he's made and made his cocktails with it. And you're like, okay, I mean, I can drink gin now. That's good.
Are there any, and don't reveal any crazy secrets, right? I mean, feel free if you want, but are there any further plans after that? Like, are there any other plans beyond vodka, beyond gin, beyond obviously the bourbon and whiskey? I mean, and you don't reveal anything you don't want to reveal. It's all marketing, right? But what do y'all? I mean, is there any plans? Yes or no works too.
I mean, my problem's always yes. So we're
I'll try. I guess
we figured that out already.
I will say
he was like after today. Yeah.
I will say that we spent about the last 13, 14 months trying to figure out a way to get a aged tequila in our spent bourbon barrels.
Okay.
the taxes, federal taxes, crossing international borders, things like that, because tequila can only be made in Mexico. Right. So we have some things on the horizon that's going to be made right here. That we can't call it tequila.
I got you.
But, if it's tequila, it's okay.
Oh, tuxedos. I love tuxedos.
Not tuxedos. Tequila. Come on, get it right.
Well, now you just gave away. I mean, there's millions of listeners that are now going to be taking our name.
I know. Too bad we are.
Well, too bad y'all said y'all have a legal team. Maybe hopefully everybody heard that. And don't steal the C4 tequila idea or the C4 whiskey idea either, because we don't know what that tastes like yet.
Or do it, and if it is bad, then they
can steal it all day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so speaking of labels, I mean, something really cool about this label that our listeners probably don't know, or a lot of people don't know, is tell us about what's going on in the background of this label.
Well, go ahead, Ryan.
Switch to that one. I'm gonna pull it over here.
Yeah, so whenever we first developed the dry county, because we really like the name, because Clint actually still lives in a dry county. There's still dry counties around Texas, and
there's a little map behind it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's a map. That is actually Wylie.
Yep.
So you can see it on all of our bottles and all of our boxes. They have it's a actual map. You can see where 78's going. You can see 544, and it's really detailed on the box. You can still see it on here, but it's just kind of one of those cool, fun facts.
Yeah.
You're looking. So if you're a Wylie person, you always carry around your dry county bottle. You will never get lost.
Exactly.
You can find your way home.
Like, why do you carry whiskey with all day? Like, it's a map.
Well, and I mean,
have you ever watched Dora the Explorer?
Right.
I mean, she carries a map with her everywhere, so don't judge me.
It's better in ways.
And like Ryan said, I actually live, my wife and I, we lived in Forney up until COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then we moved to our property right outside of Canton in Van Zandt County. And Van Zandt County is a dry county. Okay. I have to drive to either Kaufman, or Henderson County, one of the other counties, to buy my own product. I can't get it in the county I live in. So it's kind of neat. And, the same thing with we wanted to tie the old saloon feel, the railroad.
Yeah.
It's a railroad town.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why, our rye label is blue versus your traditional green, because everyone looks at rye and goes, oh, well, it's a green label. Well, ours is blue, and the reason why is back in the day in the saloons, your whiskey / bourbon, it was in a clear decanter, and then your rye was always in the old school blue glass. And that's how the barkeeps, they knew which one, if they wanted a rye whiskey or just a corn whiskey. And so that's why we transitioned back over to the blue
That's cool.
Label. And we're the only ones doing it. Plus, when you look at the shelf in the rye section,
you stand out.
Oh, we're the only blue one.
Absolutely.
And people are like, why are these idiots doing blue label? But that's the reason why. We wanted to kind of tie back just to the saloon history that Wylie had.
And that's where Dry County came from, right? I mean, because this was not a part of the Herman Marshall lineup.
No, we developed this product.
Love
it was
that.
About just shy of a year battle between the three of us partners. And
Ryan won.
Because he says yes.
This is my blend.
no, we did blind taste test, and I actually voted for his as well. So
We got to create I think it was 4 different blends
that's
that we
awesome.
put together. And so we had a tasting, and then we went and made some adjustments to all 4.
Yeah.
And then we ended up on this one as our first one. So
Yeah, that's cool.
That's why I always have to brag.
I love it.
This is Ryan's blend. If you look at the original bottle,
a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. I mean, it happens.
total
I mean,
luck.
that's-
It's a saying. It is a saying. I've heard it.
I mean, that's great. So, let's just say, why did you decide on Wylie? I know you live close. You don't live close. The distillery is in Garland. Why Wylie?
There was a lot of reasons. What kind of sold me on Wylie is, I grew up in Louisville, lived in Plano for a while, moved out east, lived in Forney for almost 15 years. This whole area, I fell in love with it. When we were looking at properties, we looked at Rockwall County, we looked at Kaufman County, and we kept, all over the place, especially Collin County, but kept always coming back to Wylie.
Sure.
And I think, for me, being someone that's not from Wylie, just any business we walked into, I mean, it reminded me of that small town. Mm-hmm. And, I fell in love with it. And then when we found the property, it wasn't the ideal property, of course.
Sure.
But we saw the vision, the location, everything just came together. And, with Ryan being so heavily tied to the community, several of our investors tied to the community, we just wanted to bring something bigger and grander. That was our vision, to bring it to Wylie, to make it a destination.
Yeah.
You know, all the other cities, you know, nothing against them, but they all kind of have big attractions.
Some of that's pulling.
You know, and with Landon's already here, and the rumors of the recent brewery that was approved.
Yeah.
You know, we had all that in the back of our mind. We're like, we could get something really cool going here with a winery, a distillery, and the breweries.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that was it. I mean, Ryan, you can expand on that, but that was really what drove my decision and vote to say, yeah, Wylie's where we want to call home.
Yeah.
I just wanted a 7-minute drive.
You know what?
I have an hour drive.
It's that simple.
And talking to, you know, with the EDC, with
Yeah.
Jason over there, and talking to the people in the community, it was something that we could both bring. You know, yes, it's a distillery, but it's somewhere where people can go and hang out.
Yeah.
Because that's where they're really, you know, there's not a whole lot of that going on here. You have to kind of travel to go get that, go get the live music. It's, you know, you're still driving, you know, and for us having, you know, small kids or having that, you don't want to go driving 30, 45 minutes down the road to go visit. And so you're like, well, that was 2 hours that I had to babysit her that I was just driving.
Right. And I mean, we're not a bar. I mean, just to throw that out. I mean, we're a family friendly atmosphere. I mean, we're not the place that you come to get hammered. I mean, there's plenty of those places around. Sure. Ours is about the experience. People that enjoy the whiskey, that want to come in, try new things, be introduced to, you know, maybe they're not whiskey people, you know.
Yeah, but they're curious.
Just to learn and grow about it. And, you know, Collin County as a whole, it was just lacking. I mean, there wasn't something like that really people could go to and experience. You'd have to drive to TX or, you know, up to, you know, great people down there or down to Bacones.
Yeah.
You know, all great whiskeys. I'm a fan. I have them on all my bar backs, but, you know, we wanted to bring that to Collin County.
No, I think for me, knowing you guys, I guess, for going on a year, I think, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. But it is, you guys know what I do for a living, and a big piece of what I do is, and it all stemmed from everything y'all just said. We started doing these spotlight videos, whatever you want to call them, around town, you know, a long time ago. I say a long time ago, a couple years ago. And it was all in an effort. I did exactly what you said, both of you said, is that when I moved to Wylie, I've been here about 5 years, and immediately moved here for the schools because I have two girls that are, you know, everything, and want to make sure they're in a good school district. And when we were looking at Frisco, and then we decided on Wylie, and so glad we did. But I immediately fell in love with just, you can call it a vibe, you can call it whatever you want, feeling, just the town in general. And that was before I was even involved in any of the business community, and got to know some of the incredible history and some of the incredible business owners that are here too. And I know y'all have gotten to know a lot of them too. But there is just such a rich history, and really Wylie has such amazing things going on just from the history and the downtown and the events, things we do. But something that was missing, and that literally, you can get as sappy as you want with it, but genuinely from what I do, kind of was frustrating and kind of broke your heart a little bit to see all of even your own friends posting about having to drive to McKinney. Yeah. And see them driving to downtown Plano, and seeing them having to go up to Frisco, and all because like we want an adult night out, or we want, you know, a place we can go hang out, a place we can go listen to live music. And, you know, they did some stuff downtown for a little while and things, but, you know, trying to scale it, there's all kinds of complications. There was not a real true venue for them to use. And now it's something that I'm super hopeful for, and it's probably the most exciting for me. And we're not supposed to even be talking about this super deep, but it's super cool because there is such a need for that, you know, when I look at things from a local economy standpoint, this is going to be massive for the local economy, whether most people realize it or not. And it's not even just for you guys, it's everything that is affected by it.
Exactly.
It's every business downtown. It's every business here that as you start interacting with what's happening, and you go, Herman Marshall has this thing, and they're opening and doing this event, and you can go here and you can do that. And then, after that, you can come get some dessert right here, and then you can come over here, and you also could hop back, and they're going to have some live music. Like, what it does to attract not just the citizens of Wylie, but people from other places. And it draws, and all that does is every business that is downtown, every business, from a gas station to a Walmart to the mom and pop boutiques that we have downtown, it attracts people who may have never even known about them.
Yep.
And it's all from, you know, and you know, sure, does everybody want to come by and say, just go thank the whiskey guys because they changed Wylie?
No.
But realistically, there are things that by the doors that are being unlocked by what you guys are doing, that it is going to provide positive change for the area, regardless of what anyone's belief is on whiskey or whatever else. You know, I don't care if you drink or not, but at the end of the day, like from a business and economic standpoint, like this is huge for Wylie.
Yeah.
It's massive.
And I think that was the biggest thing for us is whenever we're going downtown and we're going to be on the Texas Whiskey Trail.
Yep.
Which there's over 100,000 people that go and travel that thing.
Right.
Worldwide. I mean, people travel internationally to come and do the Texas Whiskey Trail.
I think you told me there was people reaching out to you from Japan. Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Asking when we're going to be officially on it because, they want to come and they're waiting until we're added to the Texas Whiskey Trail. And it's like, mind-blowing to people emailing me from other countries going,
I want to come visit Wylie.
Well, yeah.
I want to come check out the new distillery.
They go down to Garrison. They hit Balcones and TX and all the others, along the way. And, when we're at it on it, I mean, that puts another, Wylie's already on the map. They're doing so many good things. But it just
in another category.
In the hotel, the restaurants. Yep. We purposely, I told them right out of the gate, I will not be in the restaurant business again. Been there, done that, not doing it. And so, we've gotten really creative, partnered with some amazing restaurants, both downtown and also over where our permanent facility is going to be.
Sure.
And so there'll be food offerings through our both places, but
through partnership.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And that's good for those businesses too. So yeah, we're really excited about the opportunity to be added to the Texas Whiskey Trail because just what that puts us on the map internationally.
No doubt.
So we're pumped about that.
Well, and you gave us a perfect segue there, talking about the food and everything else. So I know that, we're kind of wrapping things up now, but I know that you guys have some awesome local partnerships. I know most have seen that, you guys partnered with Bold Barbecue for your poker nights, which is really cool. However long that goes, maybe all eternity, I don't know what y'all have discussed, but I think it's just really cool. Again, it's another local business that we're going to have poker and we'd love for there to be some food options, and y'all partner with them. But I know you guys have some other partnerships and I know you've got a name for these partnerships. And so I'm curious to know, and I'd love to tell people who are listening that, and again, for me, it goes back to the business and economics, like the partnerships that you guys are forming locally, semi-locally, however you want to put that, there's a following there that again, it puts the spotlight back on Wylie, that it all kind of originates there. So you want to tell us about y'all's partnership?
That's a fantastic idea.
Done.
Yeah. So, whenever we started coming up, everybody has different sponsorships or, especially liquor companies and like they go out and, we're like, what are we going to do that's a little bit different, as well as our interest, what interests us, could be the same as other people, but so we started kind of like brainstorming and we had a few people that popped up into our minds of like, hey, we really like this. And so we developed the Herman Marshall American Originals because what we're looking for and what we've actually attracted are people that are not quite, millions of followers and really trying to be out there in front of the public, but they're trying to build their career.
Sure.
Or, have really started, are successful, but are trying to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's been a lot of it. And so, one of our first few that we actually signed was Taryn Papa. Mm-hmm. And so she's out in Nashville. We became friends actually before we bought the distillery, which, it's like, hey, we're friends, but it's like, oh, cool. You own a distillery.
What was Taryn's big kickoff? I know, but for people that maybe aren't familiar, where did she gain her initial popularity?
So she was actually on The Voice back in 2020.
Yeah.
And so she was on Team Blake. And so
Blake.
Right. And so like hearing the stories and hearing that and she sings on Broadway all the time.
Yeah.
And then, but the really, really cool part when I wanted to bring her up is actually last night, she sang the national anthem for the Predators.
That's so cool.
So it was really cool and getting text messages from friends going like, dude, she's killing it. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I wish I was there, but we had this grand opening thing.
Business is getting in the way.
We get this little thing on Friday.
And so we started doing that. And then we started really kind of looking around, like who else could we bring into the fold?
Right.
And so he actually had a few people that were out your way.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of our other American originals. One of them, Gaskell Knives. He's a custom, third generation custom knife maker, pursuing his passion. To be honest with you, it's hard. I mean, those custom knives are pretty pricey. So, but he's got this massive following, but he also has a day job. He's got a family. Yeah. But so we took care of some of the sponsorship to offset some of his trade show costs, T-shirts and gear and things like that he could sell. And, then we also have, the Weber Ninja, which he's one of, I think, Woody's going to kill me, but I think it's like 200 people in the entire country that are actually sponsored by Weber Grills, and he's one of them.
It's crazy.
And he's a banker. I mean, he works at a bank out in Sulphur Springs, and
which he's pretty wild to watch. I'm familiar with him, and like to see what he comes up with out of what most people look at as like say, and nothing against Weber, but it's just it's a Weber. Like you can go to Home Depot and it's like $20 or $30. Like it's pretty cool.
I mean, it really is amazing. But he's taken his passion of barbecuing, which I've been eating his barbecue for over 20 years. That's how long I known him. But to help him, and then Dylan Stevenson, which is a 20-year-old saddle bronc rider. He works construction during the day. I mean, he's just chasing his dream. And, so we helped him, get up to Montana and Wyoming because, he can't work when he's out on the PRCA tour.
No doubt.
And so, we offset some of those costs, of course he's, 20 years old, sleeping in his truck, but he's got to put gas in it to get there.
Right.
And so, I mean, to be able to, help, those people pursue their passions, because this is what our passion is. I mean, Ryan's had to, neither of us have gotten a paycheck out of Herman Marshall.
Right.
I mean, we're still doing our things on the side to feed our families.
Sure.
But this is our passion that we've pursued. And that's really what American Originals has morphed into, is really taking just people that have, that drive, that skill, that passion. And they have their day job, but maybe we can be instrumental in getting them over that threshold. Maybe they could do this full time someday and make that their career. Just like you're doing what you want to do, and we're now doing what what we are passionate about.
Right. No, I think that's super cool. I mean, and it's a sponsorship's one thing, but knowing the, again, full story kind of behind it is knowing that it's a passion piece too. Mm-hmm. It's taking these folks that do something really cool. And I believe one that y'all haven't mentioned yet, and I'll let y'all kind of go to that one, but a couple of them are going to be there Friday, or a few of them, few of them will be there Friday, which is really cool.
We'll have a few of them there. And actually one of the new ones that we just met, I in the past have been a part of a few different companies. And so they are actually a custom hat making team. So it's called the Turquoise Feather Hat Company.
Nice.
I might have messed up the last one, but I'm pretty sure it's Turquoise Feather.
They can come meet them on Friday at 7
and it's
downtown Wylie.
Really cool.
So are they going to be making hats?
They are.
Yep.
So
upstairs.
Now, is it male and female hats, or is it mostly do we know?
I don't.
I've seen.
Female.
I looked it up, and it looked like most. And I was like, I mean, that's awesome. My wife's going to make me spend money.
Yeah.
But I was like, I kind of want to get one made.
As soon as you mentioned that, I'm like, we're going to have another hat.
Yep.
Another hat.
I think all of us are in that same boat.
Yeah,
so
100%.
When it's cool because you can. I mean, I'm sure they gear towards the female. But I mean, doing a dude hat, going and putting a feather on there, doing whatever you want. I mean. And we'll get
you do need a new hat.
I was thinking we should get a Herman Marshall, a little like burn stamp.
A little brand.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That'd be cool. Like,
great. One more thing on my plate.
Go for it. Oh, no. I thought you were asking for one more thing. I was like,
what else you got?
No, I'm saying one more thing. I got to make a brand before Friday. So, all right. Yeah. I'll get out my shop out back.
Real fast.
So any other American Originals we want to throw out there? I know y'all have the different partnerships. If you don't want to give you the opportunity to leave anyone out, if there are anybody else that you want to throw out there, but I'm super excited about Friday. I think that obviously they're going to be able to come see this full swing, and I have to, because you guys won't, and that's normal. Is I have to say, and what most people will never know in the community is that I was told from the very beginning when I first met you guys that like it's about business, obviously, and we're coming here to do things and blah 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 blah. But we're excited to be a part of the community, and we're excited to be plugged in. And I personally have reached out to you guys 2 or 3 different times, and I know y'all would never pat yourselves on the back, so I get to do it because I think it's important for the community to know that. Every time I've called and reached out to you guys and said, hey, this is coming up, they're looking for sponsorship, or they're looking for a donation, or they're looking for contribution. I know you guys said y'all wanted to know when those things come up. Yep. From I'm seemingly plugged in everywhere, but from the Chamber of Commerce, for the fire department, it's kind of countless, that there's been 2 or 3 or 4 different times. And I wanted to say thank you. And I know that it's, for you guys, some people are like, well, whatever, no, for you guys, you're backing up everything that you've said, like everything that I heard about you guys and y'all coming here. And I think it's important for the community to know that that's who we have in our town now, is that we have a business, and not that, with this, they're like, okay, so anytime, just call them, they'll give us free stuff. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are obviously strategic reasons and things for you guys to be partnered with certain ones. Chamber of Commerce is kind of an obvious thing or whatever. But knowing that you guys are, I know there's probably other intentions and things that y'all want to do in the community and things like that as things progress. And as, hopefully the dollars start turning and things like that as you get things open, right? It's easier to make money when things are open.
When you have revenue.
But no, I appreciate you guys for that. And I think it's important. Y'all would never go out and be like, hey, look at what we did. But I think it's important, even though sometimes some people may look at it as a small thing. It's a huge thing, especially for the community. And it doesn't go unnoticed, right? So
I appreciate
you guys.
that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You got it. What you got, Wes?
Yeah, I just want to thank these guys for making whiskey great again.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Yes.
And I believe these shirts will be on sale at your
They will be.
tasting
And we
room.
got a bunch of new merch and everything.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which is incredibly, it's so soft and comfortable.
Pick up your merch.
Yeah.
No, so Friday at 7. It opens at 3.
Doors open at 3. We'll be all set up. So, I mean, if you want to come get a hat, you want to come have a drink, come sit down before it gets.
You want to get your gear and then come back at 7.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Well, you can look like you're fit.
Well, you can come by, get some gear, take your wife down, get a glass from Landon.
There you go.
Just, go across the street and have some barbecue. I mean, whatever you want to do.
And the cutoff is at 11.
11 o'clock.
And I'm curious because we're all sitting here. Is there a reason for that? Like, does it have to be cut? Can we keep it going later, or are there just rules and regulations that?
I'm sure there's rules and regulations.
Okay.
He doesn't really read between that. So, yes.
He just says a whole lot of yes. So I'm just be like, so 2 a.m. and he's like, yeah.
I think the
when I say no.
lawyer said 11, right?
The lawyer said 11. I'm sure there are specific reasons.
Well, and what's going to be really fun is, I mean, all of our families are going to be down there. I mean, Ryan will be out on the floor. We'll be, taking orders, delivering drinks in the crowd. We're really excited about, the community actually coming out and meeting, putting a face behind the name.
Come say hi. Get to know us.
I mean, everybody sees, Herman Marshall, but what is Herman Marshall?
Sure.
Well, we're just the guys next door.
Yeah,
That's it.
just guys.
I mean, we're just a couple dudes that bought a whiskey company, and our wives tell us what we have to do, just like everyone else.
Nothing else changes, right? Like just because you own a whiskey company nothing changes.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, I appreciate you guys coming out and taking time out of your day. I know y'all got a big event coming up in a couple of days, so thank you guys for being here. We've already kind of teased it a lot, but we're going to have you guys back. We want to invite you guys back when we get closer to, as we've already referenced 100 times, the distillery opening up the street. So as we get closer there and we could, have some stuff we could show the folks, the progress and things, then we'll definitely have you guys back and we'll really walk through what all that's going to be for the community too. So we touched on a few things here and there, but we'll bring you guys back in and really walk through that and get everybody really excited about it. Cause I'm pumped about that. I'm excited about the tasting room, but I'm pretty excited about that place too. I think it's gonna be pretty awesome.
It will be.
And thank you for having us out. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Oh,
There we go.
Oh, he's going to try.
And he ruined it.
He's going to try.
I just want your wife to know we are not responsible for what's getting ready to happen to DJ.
I don't know if that's enough.
What does it taste like?
Cough syrup.
So 2 out of 10 would not recommend.
I kind of.
I'm gonna go. I mean, there may be some profiles that really like that, but I'm gonna go 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. It's really hard for me to give a 1 out of 10. It's gotta
DJ the mixologist.
Like you would have had me at like crying to be 1 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 10.
I'll just let you keep that on that side.
We won't
of the table.
recommend that one.
This will not be on the menu.
C4 not on the menu.
DJ just got 86. So.
Guys, no, we appreciate y'all again.
Awesome.
Thank y'all for coming out. We will, you guys go check out Herman Marshall this Friday, downtown Wylie. Opens at 3, but really kicking off about 7 o'clock. Go to about 11, and I'll be there. Wes, you gonna be there?
I will be there.
I'm gonna be down there. All right.
Yep.
I have one last thing. Cheers,
Yes.
Wylie.
Oh, cheers.
Oh, let's do a cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, got to. Yep.
Robitussin.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See y'all next time.
This episode of the Live, Love, Wylie podcast is brought to you by the Wylie EDC.